A horrible loss for the Terps against Northwestern.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland Terps. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tre Moore, host of Locked On Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you for making us part of your day, and video content creator for 247 Sports and InsideMarylandSports.com. The Terps suffer their worst loss in a long time. It was quite terribly one of the worst Maryland Terrapins football games I have seen in such a long time. Maybe we didn't get blown out. Maybe we were in the game for the entire game. Maybe it was close. Maybe it came down to the first possession. But that was one of the worst losses I have seen the Maryland Terrapins take in a long time, because of what we thought this team was, what we thought this team could accomplish, where we thought Coach Locksley was in his coaching career and how he's built this program, and a lot of the traction and how our program seemed like it was going in the right direction at the beginning of the season when we were 5-0. And after the Illinois game, I came on the podcast and said, the Terps aren't what we thought they were. And I wasn't 100% sure when I was saying that, but now I'm 100% sure, and I can say that the Terps are not what we thought they were. Northwestern's terrible. That team is not a good team. That team could barely beat Howard. That team, the only reason they have a Big Ten win was when they played Minnesota in a game that they shouldn't even have won. They were down by over 10 points in the fourth quarter. Minnesota should have had that game, but somehow Northwestern found a way to win. But other than that, they've beaten like UTEP and Howard. That's where their other wins have came from. Coming into the year, the commentator said it. People didn't think Northwestern was going to be able to win a game. That team was not good. We were more talented than them in almost every single spot you looked at quarterback, at running back, at receiver, at line, on most of the sides of the defensive side of the ball. Maybe their secondary is better than us, but that's it. And Maryland finds a way to just lose a game that they should not have lost. It's the same old, same old. We can't come in here and act like the Maryland football program has gone somewhere else and like it's taken another step when year after year, this is the result. And we got to be honest. We got to be honest about the first 5 games that we won when we came out 5-0. Who were we really kidding? Who did we really beat? We beat Towson and Charlotte to start the year. Then we beat a terrible Virginia team. I know they just beat UNC, but that's the only win. That's the only real win they have. That team is pretty bad, that Virginia team. We beat Michigan State. Michigan State's program's in shambles with their coaching staff, with their head coach being gone now, and that transition and all the distractions they've gone through this year with all the Mel Tucker stuff. Their head coach, well, not their former head coach, who got fired in the middle of the season, and they didn't have a good quarterback in Kim, and they're not a good team. We beat Indiana. They're not very good. So who were we kidding? We came out 5-0, and we beat teams that we should have beat. And I don't know if we got cocky. I don't know if we game planned the right way. I don't know exactly when I watched us play against that Northwestern team, because we came out fast. It seemed like the offense came out pretty good. We started off with some really good scripted plays to start the game, and I was like, okay, it's close, but I expect us to separate later. I came in on the Friday podcast. I thought we were going to cover the spread. Nope. Shouldn't have picked us to cover the spread. I thought we could handle that against Northwestern. It went all the way down to 13.5 points. I thought we could beat Northwestern by 2 touchdowns. Nope. But it's kind of hard to blame. I don't know exactly where our blame should go, because there's so many different categories. And I mean, it all starts with Coach Locksley. I'm not going to say this game is on Coach Locksley, because I don't think that's really what it was, because he doesn't really call the plays. It's not, I can't really say this game's on Coach Locksley, but at the same time, I have to give some of the loss to him. I have to make him accountable for some of it. It's a terrible loss, and we were not ready to play. We weren't ready to play going into this Northwestern game. I promise you, everyone basically in that locker room thought we were going to win that game easily. I thought it, but I'm not on the field. I'm allowed to come on here and say that I think we're going to win. I'm not part of the team, but I'm thinking everyone on their sideline, on the Maryland sideline, came in thinking we were going to beat that Northwestern team. And we didn't. We got punched in the mouth by a quarterback that's not even a starter. He didn't even win the job. And he had his best game of the season yet. Northwestern has had such trouble scoring this year. And they scored on our offense rather easily. They passed for 265 yards against us. And their quarterback, Brandon Sullivan, which this stat absolutely killed us at times, had 14 carries for 56 yards. We couldn't stop the guy on the ground. He continuously picked up first downs with his legs, and you know that can just hurt when you seem like you're about to get a stop and your pass coverage is holding up and that guy scrambles for some yards. We couldn't stop a backup quarterback. He looked like a good player. He made some really good throws, so credit to him. Credit to the Northwestern team. But we couldn't stop him. Nebraska could stop them last week. Howard only allowed them to put up 20 points. Howard is terrible. So I'm having trouble finding the silver lining to this game. There really aren't any silver linings. And then we look at our offense. It starts with Talia. Too many turnovers. To start the game, the slip out of his hand thing, I mean, when the football slipped out of his hand, it's like those things happen. They do. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, like that was a terrible turnover. The ball slipped out of his hands. That's not the reason we lost, though. We still should have won the game. The interception to end the game, we never should have been in that position to have to drive down the field to win the game. But the interception to end the game, terrible. A terrible throw. And we've seen it over and over again. Talia in key spots when we need it, or in a big game like against the Ohio State game where he had 2 picks and had the pick 6 and the horrible pick on the run when he should have thrown it away. Or against this game, Northwestern, a game-tying situation or a game-winning situation. We would have been up by 1 if we made the extra point when we were driving the ball down by 6 points. He overthrows Corey Dyches. We were driving. I was like, maybe we're in business. He just air shots Corey Dyches on a play where it was kind of open. He should have put it right on Corey Dyches, but he overthrows Corey Dyches. So some of the blame's got to go on Talia because I'm looking at his stat line and it's like, okay, he had 3 touchdowns and he played a solid game. Like, he didn't play terrible. But at the end of the day, 2 turnovers, that makes a difference in this kind of game. If we're not going to blow out Northwestern, if we're not good enough to beat them by 25 points or 30 points, then, and it's going to be a close game, those 2 turnovers make the difference in the game. And I know those things happen with the slip out when he had the ball on one of the first possessions of the game. I know the ball can slip out. I know that has happened to other quarterbacks. And you can't really do anything about that. It has nothing to do with coaching. You can't really practice it. It's just something when you get in a game, it can happen. So I can't be too mad about that. But at the end of the day, he had 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers. We're going to lose the game if we have 2 turnovers in a game that's back and forth. So you just can't do that. And you can't have one on the last game on the game-winning drive. You can't have it. And then the wide receiver room played terrible at times. The drops. Ty Felton on the last drive. Jayshon Jones multiple times during the game. Jayshon Jones dropped a touchdown. Terrible by the wide receiver room. Just terrible. And then a missed opportunity. We had the ball on the 1-yard line, and we handed it off to Antoine Littleton. And the thing was, I was calling for that. I was like, okay. I was watching the game with my dad, and I was like, okay, let's give the ball to Antoine Littleton. He was like, yeah, that's the right move. It gets stuffed. We can't get 1 yard with Antoine Littleton. It gets stuffed twice. We go for it on 4th down, and Talia takes forever to throw the ball. Rico Walker, the freshman tight end, wide open for a touchdown. And Talia does and takes too long to throw the ball, and it gets deflected. You can't make those type of mistakes if it's going to be a close game. You can't have 2 interceptions. You can't have that 4th down. Well, first of all, you should have gotten it with Antoine Littleton anyway. But you can't have it get to 4th down and then not pick it up. I mean, like, what are we doing? And some of the play calls that we had during the game, I just didn't like. I didn't like it at all from Josh Gaddis. Gaddis just doesn't – he's just not doing it for me right now. I don't know if it's the game plan. I don't know exactly what it is. We put up 27 points. We should have put up more. There are some good play calls, but my problem is this rotation of players. And that's not on Gaddis. I think that's more just overall what we like to do as a program. But at times we just rotate too many guys in and out of the game. And I'm like, let's stick with the hot hand. If Colby McDonald is getting 7 yards per carry, keep on giving it to Colby McDonald. We don't have to put in another guy. I know Roman Hemby's our leading back, but if Colby McDonald's playing so well, we don't have to put in another guy. Keep giving the ball to Colby McDonald. Run the ball more. It was so clear Northwestern couldn't really stop the run. And we just didn't want to continue to stick with it, and we get pass heavy, and that's what happens at times when you get pass heavy. It's hard sometimes. It's hard on Talia when you get so pass heavy. I know it's against our identity. I know we lead the Big Ten in passing attempts. But if Colby McDonald's picking up yards, give it to Colby McDonald. Stop overcomplicating it. I thought we should have run the ball way more from the start of the game. But when you go down, it's hard to continue to run the ball when you have to come back. It's just a disappointing loss. I mean, I saw a couple posts from the Maryland fans that it's like, is it basketball season yet? I'm not going to say I'm there, but I'm there. It's just like, it's the same old Maryland football. And we got some reinforcements this week. That's what I was excited about. That's why I kind of revoked my statement about Illinois and not being that Maryland wasn't what we thought we were. When I said Maryland's not what we thought we were, I kind of started to pull the string back on that and say, okay, maybe this Illinois loss was just a bit of an outlier this season. And maybe we can still get to 9 wins. And maybe we can still do some really good things and get to a really cool bowl game. Because Corey Dyches was out, Tarheeb Still was out, Dante Trader was out, Corey Bullock was out. A lot of guys, a lot of key players were out. So I was like, okay, maybe it was more because of the injuries and coming off the Ohio State game. But this week, we came off a bye. We got Dante back. We got Tarheeb Still back. We got Bullock back. We got Dyches back. Tarheeb Still and Dante didn't have their best games. They just didn't. I don't know if they were fully healthy. Tarheeb Still got beat on a touchdown. Dante Trader multiple times missed a couple plays. I don't know if they were fully healthy. I don't know if they were ready to go. But they played, so what am I supposed to make of that? We're not what we thought we were. I don't know what else to say. It doesn't get easier from here. We still got Penn State. We still got Michigan. We still got big-time games to go. We play Penn State next week. I had confidence coming out the bye. I thought the bye was in a good spot for us. I wanted it to be one more week. I wanted it to be after the Ohio State game. But we're on a 3-game losing streak now. What's going to change? How are we going to respond from here? Are we going to maybe upset a Penn State? Or are we going to get blown out? Or are we going to keep it close? Because Penn State was just in a dogfight against Indiana. I had that game on too in the background a little bit. Penn State, they barely beat Indiana. It came down to like the last seconds. They couldn't really beat Indiana. And we know what we did against them. So what's the situation with the game against Penn State next week? I'm not really ready to talk about it because I'm still going through this game, obviously, and this horrible performance that we just put up. But I got to end with this. I was wrong about Maryland football. I thought we were in the right spot. I thought the program was going in the right direction. And I just don't know where we go from here. Obviously, we continue to play and we continue to play hard. I don't know what the recruiting looks like after this. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to recruit the same way that I thought we were going to be able to get to. I don't know. I know we got some good players next year in our 2024 class. I thought our 2025 class had a chance to be really good. I don't know. I don't know if recruits are going to want a school that loses to Northwestern. I don't know. Northwestern team that faced a ton of credit to them. They faced a ton of controversy this offseason, and with their coaching and their whole scandal with their head coach who got fired, a bunch of people left, some people transferred. Credit to them. They're able to outgo controversy, and maybe we weren't able to this week. Kevin Sumlin's situation, if you remember, all that happened this week. I thought our team was going to be able to get through it and respond. We weren't able to face adversity. They were able to. So credit to Northwestern for coming out with a better game plan, coming out hotter, coming out more ready to go, coming out with more pep in their step, more hype. Did you see them? They were excited to be out there. And the thing was, I hear Maryland fans complain about it all the time. Did you see the Northwestern stands? They barely had anybody in their stands. That thing was empty. People talk about Maryland Stadium being empty. That Northwestern Stadium looked like it was like a high school game. There was nobody in that stadium. So I don't want to hear us complaining about, oh, we need to bring more energy from the home perspective. Northwestern barely had anyone at that game, and they're still bringing energy. They're still getting hype. You see their head coach, he's hype. He's ready to go. He's excited. They get hype when they make plays. They had energy. Nobody in the stands. What really motivates this Maryland Terrapin football team? I don't know. Something has to change. I thought something had changed, but it looks like not. But Maryland loses. That's all we have for today. Like and subscribe. We're here talking about Maryland football and basketball every single day. Basketball season is coming up, so if you're a Maryland Terrapins basketball fan, subscribe because that is coming. But thank you to listening to Locked On Terps.